Recording in progress.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting back to order. We're all live again. We are not, we are being recorded, and we are down to committee reports. So I think I'm going to start with those that are attending virtually, and I'm going to start with Councillor Spicer this morning.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So on December the 14th, we had a committee of the whole meeting before the regular planning meeting, basically based on policy discussions for roads development and development fees and sewer hookup. On December 17th, we had meeting number 2 for WMR Plan 2050. Basically, the meeting was to discuss what they called policy areas 1 and 2. So quickly as possible, we had Mr. Mike Talley do a little bit of historical review. A few important things to remember is 3 years after the regional plan is passed, our local plans are supposed to meet or coincide with the regional plan. The regional plan adoption will be similar to the development plan process. The final draft of the plan will be developed by the regional planning board. So what the province is working on right now is estimating timelines of plan adoption is 1 to 2 years or more. Then we had Hazel Borges talk about key concepts of infrastructure and commuter shed lines. And then Greg Masseldorf talked to us about corporation location strategies. So Winnipeg is the 81st largest metro region in North America, just information for everyone to know. And a lot of the stuff that Plan 2050 is looking at is to assist in getting larger corporations to come to the area. That's about all I had on that. December 21st, the IERHA, we had elected leader briefing on the status of healthcare in our region. So, of course, it's changed quite a bit since December the 21st, but the simple concept here is that some beds have been closed in the area because they're pulling staff to look after COVID. And of course, there's also a shortage of staff because of COVID. So, we might end up getting some concerns raised by residents by what they're doing, but it sounds like they really don't have much choice. They have to do the best they can. Of course, people are still getting moved from transferred from one place to another because of level of care needed. So December the 23rd, we had a committee of the whole, and that was our CAO update before the holiday break. And that's all of my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you very much, Councillor Spicer. Anybody have any questions for Councillor Spicer? Okay, I'll go to Councillor Horbis, please.
Yeah, I have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Belanger.
Yes, right before Christmas we had that update from our CAO regarding some grant information. after that, December 31st, I went on a journey of looking at Christmas lights. There was only 4 or 5 within our RM. Some were pretty basic and some were very nice. So I did that. And other than that, that's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Sutherland, I see you did sit down. Go ahead with your report.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to attend to something with my wife. She had her shoulder replacement, so
Oh,
I was away.
okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're just doing the committee report. So did you want to do yours or did you want me to come back to you?
No, there's not much. We just had the call meeting on the 14th. There was the Interlake Eastern Health Authority meeting on the 21st. And that's all I have anyway to.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Sutherland.
Yeah, I may have to just leave. My wife, she's in the front room, but if you see me get up, that's why I'm getting up.
Well, I knew that she was going to have her surgery. I didn't realize that she had had it already. So if you have to...
Yes, she did.
Okay, so if you have to step away, we'll make sure that you don't miss anything too much, so...
I can hear you, I'm just going into the front room anyway, I can hear you talking.
Okay, perfect.
I'll make sure I stay here.
Okay, well, if you can, if you can't, that's fine too. Okay, I'm going to continue on. Go ahead, Councillor Bazarowicz.
All I have is, on the 23rd, we had, some Zoom announcements for grants. That's it.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
December 14th, we had POW in the morning before our regular council planning meeting, where we discussed road policy and sewer project. Then we had our council meeting, planning meeting. December 15th had Red River planning meeting. And again, things, even with cold weather, nothing stopped for them. They have great increases. They did report that there's 151 more dwelling permits this was taken as of November, as of all of 2020. So there was still December's to totally report to add on to. So they are booming, and I think they said it was 153% increase. Yeah. And we did have one subdivision come in front of for St. Clements, and it did get approved. On December 23rd, we had a special in-camera meeting with our CAO. And on December 29th, the mayor and myself met at the RM office with Red River North Tourism, and we had our wine cellar draw, which we will be discussing later on, and we'll get more information on it in camera, just as some of the information hasn't been given out to the public yet.
Right. Okay, thank you for that. Anything else that you're good now? Okay. All right, I'll quickly go through mine. December the 14th, the COW meeting and our council meeting. December the 15th, I was interviewed. It was a CLI, so that's a Collaborative Leadership Initiative. I was interviewed by Maryland Fair and Michael Miltenberger. What they were doing is they were trying to gather information from the elected people who have attended the CLI gatherings to see what we found out, to gather information on what was good about what we did and what we got out of our meetings, and if there was anything that stood out and what we learned as individuals. What they were trying to do is kind of see what the good things were and get some information as to how to proceed if we have another CLI gathering, like what do we have to look at. So it was kind of interesting. It was about a half hour. I'm supposed to be getting like a transcript of what was asked and my answers, so I haven't gotten that yet. So when I get it, I will share that with everybody. I think it was kind of interesting because there were things that I guess I learned attending these that I never really thought of before, because they talk about the Indigenous people and things like that, and I guess for me, when I was growing up and going to school, we were all kids. There was no difference between if you were Indigenous or not Indigenous. So, you know, that was one thing that really kind of stood out for me, because I never thought of it that way prior to, you know, starting to go to these meetings. So, just one little thing. Then, of course, the 15th, Sandra reported on the Red River planning. December the 17th, Plan 2050, the workshop. I also was at that one. I guess I found it a little bit interesting. I know Scott gave most of the information, but I guess they talked about regional plans, job centers, and service sharings. And I think it was Mr. Wessendorf that said that one municipality can't do it all. We need to work regionally to help each other be better. And if we don't work together, some of us will fail, because we need to all work together to be stronger. December the 19th, in Manitoba Good Roads, we had our Christmas gatherings. Most of the members were out, and we had a little bit of discussion on judging and the plans for the upcoming banquet, which is supposed to be in April in Brandon. So whether that will happen, it's not known at this point in time. December the 22nd, I had a RRPD special committee meeting, and again, that was an in-camera meeting to just further discuss the mediation and Selkirk's departure from RRPD. December the 23rd, the Municipal Silica Sand Advisory Committee. Deepak and I were invited to attend that one, and that is a group of municipalities that are concerned with the Can White proposal that's supposed to be happening in Springfield. And I'm going to let Deepak report on that, because he probably can report on it a little bit better than I can. So, December the 23rd, as everybody said, we had our council in-camera meeting, and Sandra reported on the Red River North tourism draw. It was kind of interesting, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in camera. And on January the 6th, I was a little bit slow on this one, but I did go and look at all the holiday lights in the municipality. There were only 5, and as Councillor Belanger said, some of them were just, you know, kind of run-of-the-mill, but there were a couple that were quite nice. So everything has been submitted, and as far as I know, we should know the winners probably sometimes after today. I think everything was supposed to be in by today, and they were going to make a decision as to who the winners were. So, and that's all I have. Go ahead, Councillor Belanger.
Thanks, Madam Chair. The comment you made about the RMs, something about working together, you know, it's a very interesting comment, because over, I'm going to say, the last decade, we all know that that's what we should do, and it really took off, I'm going to say, 2 decades ago, when more conversations were happening amongst municipalities, but we always get complacent, and I think it's really important that that comment alone about how we should work together on things to help each other or to partner, I think we have to make a concerted effort to try to do that, like reach out to neighboring municipalities, if we have ideas or whatever. So I just think that comment, we all have to be mindful that even amongst administration, that we reach out as much as possible to other neighbors to find out. And I know with our ARM group that that's sort of where we do discuss some things, but I know there's some ideas coming up down the pipe of some big infrastructure in terms of buildings and sportsplex, and I think we should try the best we can to get together with neighboring municipalities to see how those futuristic projects could come to fruition if we all work together. And I know it's difficult sometimes, because someone wants it in their RM, someone wants it in the other RM. We just have to decide that we're either going to work together or not, but I think it's a good comment.
Thank you for that, and I don't disagree with that, and I know that Deepak on a couple of things has reached out, and St. Andrews CAO has reached out to Deepak on a couple of things, and you know, hopefully at some point in time we can have some regional projects on the go that are not just for our municipality, so hopefully that will move forward. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I'm going to concur with both, what both of you said, but you know what, I think it always depends of who's sitting around the table too at each municipality and who's voted in and just the group that you have. Like we have an excellent group that, like, you know, we disagree, move on and keep on going, keep our municipality going, but we all know and we can see that that doesn't happen at all our neighboring municipalities, and you just need good neighbors too, so.
That's right, yeah, won't disagree with that, so. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm going to head over. Dave Sutherland, do you have your hand up or were you just adjusting there?
Strength in numbers.
Yes, that's right, that's right.
No, I was just adjusting, I was looking at my battery power.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it over to Deepak then to give us his report.
I'm just going to refer to a couple of meetings that were, and I don't know if they've been put on the public agenda. I know we've discussed about these meetings at the committee of the whole, but we did have a meeting with Minister Derek Johnson on December the 8th, and we also had a meeting with Minister Schuler.
Deepak, can I get you to speak up because I see Councillor Roberts can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. We had a meeting on December the 8th with Minister Johnson and discussed on several different items. And I just wanted to highlight that one specifically because we talked about doing some more infrastructure work in the south part of our RM. And the minister asked for myself to coordinate some work with our neighboring municipalities. One was to work with St. Andrews, the other was to look at working with East St. Paul, and I can give you a bit of an update on that one as well in a couple of minutes. The other meeting was with Minister Schuler that was discussing on several issues. One was on our request to reduce speed limits on Highway 44 after the floodway bridge and around our industrial park, as well as to address some issues around our sewer connectivity. And I'm very happy to report that that has been approved, and we have received the final approval just the day before Christmas Eve. I think it was, or it might have been Christmas Eve that we received the approval. And so we are fully on our way on that. The other is I did meet with St. Jude's, and I just two overall concerns that they had, and I just wanted to give you an update on that. It's also being discussed as a request for information that St. Jude's has made. The other is we had discussions around, I had separate meetings around Coville Road development, specifically the property right across from the RM's office, as well as looking at what we're doing on Coville Road with our contractors. The other was the Council meeting on the 14th, and then on the 15th I had a meeting with Peguis First Nations legal representative, and we've come with a possible resolution on how to move forward. There's been ongoing concerns over this agreement with Peguis First Nation regarding their gas station, and part of that is that we have one agreement that they were looking at, but part of the agreement deals with just the development related issues, and the other part of the agreement is an ongoing service provision to that land, which is considered First Nations lands. And to be able to deal with that, what we're doing is to deal with that, what I've recommended after some further discussions with their lawyer, is that we should really have two agreements to sign. One agreement related with the development, which are related with deposits and getting the work done and finishing up the construction, and then that agreement is then eventually nullified when all the work is complete. And then we just have a standard agreement for the provision of fire and protective services and other services that we provide as an RM. And I think that will make it a little bit easier. Their lawyer also agreed with that. I'm getting something drafted up, and I'll be setting up a meeting, at which point we'll be setting up a meeting with their council, and then we can pick the representatives from our council to attend that meeting as well. And the other was had a meeting on the development of the next phases for the weight truck development across our way, which has already been submitted. So they are already moving to phase 2 and phase 3, which is all wonderful news. And it looks like the majority of phase 1, if not all of it, has been complete. It's been sold, and now it's basically for development purposes. The only thing outstanding out of phase 1, from my understanding, is basically the non-residential property, which was the highway commercial part of it off of Coville, and from my understanding, they'll also be going out for tender on that property soon as well. The other is we had the meeting on the plan 2020 or 2050, and has already been explained by the mayor and Councillor Spicer. I just wanted to highlight there, further to your comments, Councillor Boulanger, that gave me an opportunity to have a discussion with East St. Paul at that meeting, and they are very interested in working with us for both water and sewer as we move forward. I think the feeling of what happened in the past is no longer the same perception. I think everybody understands in order to get some of these major projects done, we have to involve everybody into the project, which includes, let's change that so I can see everybody. We just have Brenna has just joined us. That will be for some of the items that we're going to be discussing after. The other is...
Rob's got his hand up there. Go ahead, Rob.
Just on that note, Deepak, if you could write down for me quickly, just a reminder to give CAO Selkirk a call and just ask when we can sit down as a small group to discuss the Selkirk Bridge, just now that it's on my mind.
Yes.
The ask went out 4 or 5 months ago, and I don't know where it's at, so.
He had agreed to it, and I think they said that they were going to do something about setting up a meeting, as I recall, was the last communication, but I haven't seen anything from them since then.
Thank you.
The other is I also had the briefing on the health services we had on the December the 21st, and we also are working closely together to deal with it. We had the meeting, the special meeting just before Christmas. And just to give you an update, we had the Silica sand meeting on the 23rd, and those are the various meetings is my update. So to give a quick update on our major projects, as to I'll give you a written as I do on the next meeting, but for now what I can give you as an update is that we are on schedule with the water treatment plant. I know that it looks like they may not be always working there, but they are. The concrete was poured, and the plant is on track to be going live in September. And the sewer main project, we had a major breakthrough, and 2 major breakthroughs. We were able to get all our easements done by the new year. So the easements on the properties that were needed in order to go around some of the gravel to our private property owners have all been signed, so the contractor is continuing to be on schedule. The sewer project also required as drilling underneath the floodway, and there were some challenges in getting those permissions, and those have all been ironed out, and I think that's a big significant thing for getting the level of support we received from the minister, as well as from the executive director from AMM and Manitoba Water Services Board, as we ask for those things to get done. That has kept the contractor on schedule, and the equipment has been brought over, and so we aren't going to be facing any delays in that project. And Councillor Boulanger has his hand up, Madam Mayor.
Oh, go ahead, Councillor Blanchet, sorry.
No problem. On Mr. Administrator's comment of the sewer line going in, I've had a number of phone calls from ratepayers, quite impressed on what's happening, what's going in, but on every call that I got, they are astonished on the speed. They're like, oh my God, they were here 1 minute, and in the next couple of days, they can't believe how fast that company is putting that pipe in the ground. So that's really interesting, getting calls like that from ratepayers. So.
Thank you, Councillor. They're 60% complete already.
Right on.
And so the biggest thing is, and this is quite an engineering marvel, the way that they're going to be doing the drilling, they're bringing in special equipment. I've already been told there's already various other contractors who want to just be on site just to watch the work being done, that Talio will be doing with these specialized equipment. They are, because of some of the requirements, we are going through bedrock as well with these pipes underneath the floodway, so there's some very, very specialized equipment doing this kind of work, and it's good to know that we've gotten all our approvals in place. In order to address the provincial concerns, there will be a provincial inspector observing to make sure that the floodway is not put at any risk, but I'm very confident in Talio's capacity.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I have a question. Is the tent that's on the floodway, is that them with their equipment underneath it? Or?
Correct.
Okay. I've had phone calls on that, so of what's going on the floodway, what's the municipality doing on the floodway? And that's what I told them. Maybe in a Facebook posting or something, we can just update that. If other people have been getting phone calls, I don't know, but.
I think it's a good time to do that update. We have a discussion on the in camera about
Perfect.
what we want to do about the announcement, as well as I think it's time to do an update for our citizens. And one of the things that Brett and I have been talking about is to keep it at the forefront of this pre-sale that we are doing. We've received 40+ calls already. Brett has been working diligently with our public works and our public works staff as well, with Arlene, Kevin, and Greg, and we've got some good processes and procedures to make sure that we can collect and be able to set up for all these connections, which can then allow us to expand our sewer services further as we go, and eventually to be able to decommission the Lockport treatment plant. On that, I've also been approached by various developers, and one was a sort of a hurried meeting where they're looking at investing in lands in our RM now, that these are developers that haven't been here, and they're fairly large developers, and they're looking at this because of the sewer and the water. And those are the big things that are bringing them to the table. And so I'm in the process of providing them with some maps, which are public information as to where our lines are coming out. So this way then they can then explore options of what that means is there will be probably developers going in and acquiring lands that they feel there's an opportunity to connect to. So that's my report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, any other questions for Deepak this morning? Not seeing any hands go up. Brett, do you have anything you'd like to share with us today? Okay, thank you. So with that, I think we can move into camera. Number 12 on our agenda, and if I could have the resolution to go in camera, please.
Resolved, Council recess the regular meeting and go into in-camera to discuss legal and personnel issues, and further be it resolved that all matters discussed are to remain confidential as per section 83(1)(d) of the Municipal Act.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Belanger. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Bazarowicz. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And Councillor Belanger, you were moving that resolution, or did you have a question? Okay, good. I will ask Brett to please stop the recording.